All right, guys, I'm going to get started just for sake of time because I ended up with a client yesterday, scheduled a last minute showing for this morning at 11. And she's, like, if we like it, we're writing an offer. So let's sell houses, right? So I'm going to start sharing my screen here. All right, what is it doing? That's not what I want to share. Let me see. I don't know, Gary. This is not my strength with the. Okay, can you guys, perfect. You
Yep.
can see it, right? You can see my
Yep.
CRMLS.
Showing time on
Yay,
CMA.
great. Okay, so guys, everybody has their different ways of doing things. I do a little bit of a combo, and I think it really is just going to depend on how detailed you are. If you want to make sure that all bases are covered and you're giving your client the utmost and best idea of numbers that you possibly can, it's really, in my opinion, best to go to like 2 or 3 different sources. I don't know that any one of them is perfect, but in my opinion, the cloud CMA, which is actually set up, and I wish they would create a buyer side for it. It's actually created for sellers. So it has a little introduction at the beginning of what goes to them that goes into the selling. And when I send them my email, I go, hey, this is a program, a market analysis that I use for my sellers too. You can just click through all the information about selling a home and get right to the meat and potatoes, which is the homes that we're going to be looking at and talking about. So if you log into your CRMLS, the first page that pops up is this section here, and you can click on Cloud CMA. Once you do that, it's going to bring you into the program. So and you can see I did one to help Justin out. That's why it has Justin's name over here. I didn't sell a house to Justin, but it's pretty simple in the fact that all you're going to do is click on create new report here and then CMA. If you guys ever want to play around, you can also do buyer tours in here. I feel like they take more time than I want to spend, so I've never used it, but it's a pretty cool little tool. Anyway, so CMA, you can put your clients' names here. And then really what you want to focus on is this side on the right. So you're going to enter the property address here, and it'll auto-populate the number of bedrooms and baths according to what's on the tax assessor's records. You can change the type if you want here. If you don't necessarily have to, it's not going to affect anything. If it's a condo, you can say condo. But again, it's not really anything that's going to change the results of your CMA. And then I always come down here and click automatically find listings near me. In other words, quick and dirty. I like these people. They talk like me. So we're going quick and dirty. And then you're going to click fetch listings. And then it'll take you right into the next page. But since I've already got some started, I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to my already done CMAs, just so you guys know. Once they're completed, they're all here. I'm bad. I never go back and delete them. This is the most recent one I did for my client, Kim. So if we go in here, let's see. Actually, you know what? I am going to just 29816 Platinus. We're going to go in. I do want you guys to be able to see it, what it looks like when it populates. You're kind of losing that part of it if I don't show you that. So, and then another important thing to do before you start this process is go to the tax record, make sure that what is showing up on the tax assessor's record is what the listing agent is saying that the property has. For instance, I'm showing a home today. Tax record says it's a 2.2. Listing agent has it as a 4.2. It's also got additional square footage. So there's been work done without permits, more than likely. And that can affect value. So you always want to do a little bit of background work before you come in here to do this CMA, okay? So then we're going to click on quick and dirty. We've got, see how it auto-populated this information for me? If you're super cool, you can add a cover photo if you want. So if you have a picture of the house on your phone, or you just want to take a picture of it off the internet and add it, you can actually put a cool cover photo here for them. Otherwise, it's just going to bring up the map in the background. Again, people don't really care about that. All they want to know is what you think the house is worth. That's really what it comes down to. Beauty of this that we're doing right now is this works for your buyers and your sellers. So keep that in mind, right? If you've got a listing appointment, Cloud CMA is the way to go, in my opinion. So what it does is it automatically pulls closed, pendings, and actives for you. And then it's your job to go through and see which of these actually make sense, because they're not all technically going to make sense. So that's where we have to weed some out. It pulls from a pretty larger area too. With CMAs, guys, it's really important. You want to stay less than 2 miles from the subject property, ideally. If you're in a rural area, it can be hard because then you've got to, expand out further. In little suburban communities, you should be able to grab, hopefully within a mile radius, ideally, and within the last 6 months. The reason for that is that's what your appraiser is going to be using, and you want to be aligned with your appraiser, ideally. So obviously we're not going to look at expireds or withdrawns, but it puts them in the background. See how these are kind of gray instead of black? It's saying we don't want to use these. And so the ones that are in black and have the check marks are the ones that Cloud CMA is recommending you use. Again, I say we're going to, I go through those and I decide what I'm going to use. And as we scroll down, you've got your pendings and your actives. Depending upon whether you think it's going to benefit your client, you can leave those in there. The problem with that is this is the list price. We don't know what they went into contract at. If you want to take the time to call that listing agent, and if they're super cool, about 50% of the time they seem to be, you can ask them, hey, I'm helping a client that's going to look to write an offer on a home in the area. I'm curious, could you share what you guys are in escrow at? A lot of times they'll tell you. So if you can get that number and it makes sense, if it's somewhere around this number, sure, you can leave it in there, right? We know that appraisers are not going to use pendings and actives. This, and the other thing I'm not crazy about is this is the subject property. It always puts the subject property in there as an active and checks the box. So I take it out. The other thing I'm watching for is this area up here, you guys, as I'm going through. This is the lowest house that has the green box checked currently, the highest, and then it gives you a median and average in the middle. So as I'm kind of working through and unchecking properties and adding properties, I watch these numbers to see what's happening, because your client is going to be watching these two numbers when you send it to them. This is what's speaking to them right here. They're like, okay, this is about what that house should be worth. So if you've got something in here that's way off base, it could really mess up these numbers. And we want it to be as accurate as we possibly can. So for instance, with these guys, there were some obvious homes. Subject property shows in the purple up here. If you ever need to go back and look, bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage, and the year built. So now as you're going through here, the other thing is you want to be watching for properties, ideally, if you can, within 200 or 300 square feet of your subject property, either smaller or bigger. It's okay to go up a bedroom or down a bedroom, but that's less than ideal. So as you can see here, this one's a 2-bedroom. So we'd probably want to take that one out, right? You can see the price here. That's not where we're wanting to be. This isn't a good comp. It's only 1,491 square feet. So I'm going to uncheck that box. That one's coming out. Your clients aren't going to see any of this because it's going to only send them what you have checked. So same thing with this guy. It's 1,500 square feet. It's a 3.2. It's 629. So we're going to take that one out. Okay. So now we're getting kind of into some more meat and potatoes here. This guy is kind of on the small side. It's only 1,300 square feet. So I'm probably going to take him out. And then if you ever want to get an idea of where these properties are at, what's kind of cool is, so obviously this one's on the same street, Platinus. These are the places up here. And if you hover over them, it'll show you which one it is below 29718 Platinus. So here's the subject property. And then these are the two that are pending that I'm probably going to end up taking out.
Hey, Sheree.
Yeah.
Real quick question is, will it let you, and maybe you said this and I missed it in the beginning, but will it let you do like, I only want to see, X amount of square footage minimum and maximum Or does it just come up with all of these and
Not that I'm aware of, I mean, not that I've seen
okay,
myself. So I usually just go in and uncheck them.
gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I think my biggest complaint is that it can sometimes go very broad on the map and then sometimes get you condos. You're looking at single families and it'll still show you condos.
Gotcha.
Um, so, but I don't know. It's maybe if you change well, I have it as single family right now. So
Yeah,
I don't
it
know.
might be. I see at the top it says criteria. I don't know if it's in there or not, but this is fine. But I just wondered if like, and we have low inventory, but if there was like hundreds, it'd be hard to like go through each one, I would think.
Yeah. I haven't
I don't know.
ever had it happen to that degree where it's like super cumbersome. I can usually really quickly just start unchecking. And then what happens once I start unchecking the ones that are obviously not anything I want to be sending to my client, then I go a little bit deeper. So you can click over here where it says notes and adjustments, and then it brings you the property. So now you can actually look through the photos. You can get a better idea of how the upgrades might be inside compared to your subject property. And the backyard, different things. And you also get the description. So hopefully any upgrades, like this one has a 2023 kitchen. Hopefully all these things are listed in the description. So it can give you a pretty quick idea of whether you want to keep this property in or not. Now, that being said, if it's close by, square footage is pretty accurate, which this is. It's missing. By the way, the subject property is actually 4 bedrooms. We don't know why it says the 5. We think when it was first built, there was an option to turn the bonus room into 2 bedrooms. So it's actually a 4 bedroom. But this one would still be a really good comp for this property. And again, you kind of have to think like an appraiser. How many of you guys were on the appraiser training like a month ago? I asked, okay. I actually wasn't able to be there. I was working. But I had asked Ashley to push that up for you guys. I said, we need him on here sooner for the Tuesday training. If you didn't see it, go back and watch the video. Because knowing those things is just as important as the realtor basics, because now you need to know, well, how much value is the appraiser going to give for this updated kitchen? My subject property has Corian countertops and oak cabinets, but this one has a fully updated kitchen. So you're going to want to know approximately how much they give for that kind of stuff. And I hope he asked those questions. I wanted to be on there or answered those questions. In appraisers, it can vary. They might give 20,000, they might give 30,000. If the people spent $75,000 on the kitchen, they're not going to get 75,000 in value. Unfortunately, it does increase the value, but it's not dollar for dollar. So an appraiser is everything's adjusted down when it comes to value on a house. Definitely not getting dollar for dollar. So it's going to be up to you to kind of go through and decide, which ones make sense for your subject property. And then you would keep those boxes checked. I'm going to take this pending out. I want this pending in because it's actually a good one. Once you have the properties that you want to keep, does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. Once you have the properties you want to keep. Oh, and here's the other cool thing. Say you want to add a listing. Say there's something on here that you saw maybe on the MLS, or how do I move this bar? Oh, cool. All right. So I'm going to go out to Paragon right now. And here's the house. Another thing you can do, I don't know if you guys know about this, is you can click on this little box that has the black with the yellow in the middle. And it takes you out to the MLS tax suite, and it pulls what it feels are comps. So the one thing I like about that is this particular one, it shows you the closest and the most recent sales first. And then to move these boxes so I can work. And then as you go further out, the sales dates get older. And you can actually create a report here. But what I find is they usually only give you a couple of recent ones that are fairly good. And then other than that, you're, they're going to be so old. There's one in here that the next one over, I think, is January. But for instance, on this one, if you wanted, you can click on here and you can look through photos. But let's just say this one wasn't on my CRMLS or on my cloud CMA, you can add it. So you can add it using the property address, or you can use the MLS number. So this one's 29713 Nandia. You can grab this. I just do a copy. I go back into my CMA. You say add listing. And here's where you can put the MLS number if you'd like instead. Put the property address in here, grabs it for you. And then you can put in, if you put in the MLS number, it usually populates all this for you automatically. So I usually grab the MLS number. You click add listing, and then there it is at the bottom. So see, it didn't pull the price or anything. So that's why I usually do the MLS number, would be better. Let me show you guys really quick. So what is the MLS number on this guy? Oh no, that's the other one. We'll just leave it the way it is for now. But if you did that same thing and put in the MLS number, it would populate all of this for you. And then your numbers would change here based on it. So what's nice about that is you only add what you want to. So say you go out to Paragon and you just search for properties sold there in the last 6 months and you see one or two you want to add, this is where you'll add it. Does that make sense, everybody? Yes, yes. Okay. So then once you've got everything you want, then you're going to click customize report. And then it's going to pull everything in for you. Now, here's an interesting thing I want to point out to you guys. Over here on the left are documents that you can add or remove from your report. I like to keep mine pretty basic. I don't like a whole lot of information. They're going to click right through to the houses anyway. But if you go in and you click here on your account settings, you can change the custom pages. So I don't know if you guys did I do that too fast. When you first go to your profile, this is where it takes you. First of all, you want to make sure all of this is accurate. Then you go down to custom pages. And these are all the pages I've included, but you can add anything else you want. If you have a bio page with your beautiful logo and your pictures, Rashida, if you have your homegirl stuff on a bio that you want to add in here, you can totally do that. And then it'll be much prettier than mine, which is super basic. I haven't done any of that kind of stuff. So this is a great place to update those pages if you choose. Let me go back out to where was I? Hold on. I think I can back arrow. I'm not sure.
So I've never used Cloud CMA. Anytime I pull comps, I always just go into the MLS, pull, everything from the search from
Yeah.
there, the old school way. So how are you finding, like, are you just going in Google, putting in Cloud CMA, or are you going into the MLS and then there's a link on there? Because I missed that when you.
Oh,
The very beginning.
yeah. So at the very beginning, when you first log into the
There it
MLS,
is. Oh,
right here, Cloud CMA.
wow. Okay.
Yep.
This
Click
is
on that,
really
and then
cool.
it'll bring you here.
Are
And
you
this is what I just worked
SDAR
on.
or are you NSCDAR or whatever it is?
I'm NSCD, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Funny.
And then I have CRMLS.
Got it,
Yeah. So I have to keep moving these little boxes. So I'm just going to click update listings. I'm not going to that's the thing too, is once you go out and you come back in, that's the other thing I've noticed about this is sometimes it saves what you had and sometimes it doesn't. Luckily for me, this time it did. So now I'm going to click on customize report. And if you like all your documents that are here, like I said, I would suggest going into your profile, fixing all those up how you like it. You click publish. And then you're all set. So now this is just them advertising over here. So now you have an option to view the PDF. You can view it live. And then here's where you'll click email report. So really quick, let's just view it live so that you can see what your clients are going to be getting. So this gives them the tabs so they can choose to jump to certain areas if they want, or they can just click down here where it says start presentation. Here's my bio. You can make it prettier. This is just something that Cloud CMA wrote about our quote unquote, our company. It's pretty generic. I just leave it in there. Again, they're probably not going to read it. Information about what a CMA is. Smartest way to sell a home. Bam. Now we're in the homes. So this is one of the few CMAs that's actually can be sent to your client live via email so that it allows them to click on the property. They can look through the photos. They can see how long it was on the market. They can see the original list price, what it sold for, the description, and basically all the MLS information for that property that sold. You can click back here and it allows them to scroll through back and forth and review all these properties. So sometimes we'll go over it together over the phone. I'll call them up and they'll bring this up on their computer and then we'll just walk through it together and discuss. And they have questions. They're like, well, this one has this or this one has that. But as you can see, it's a nice side-by-side comparison. You can look at the lot size, all these other things, as well as the square footage. So it's nice information right at your fingertips and right at your client's fingertips. So super duper handy. When you're going to email it, you're going to click email report here. You're going to type your client's name. And then where this intro is actually, because here's your subject. This intro is where you can type more information. So this is where you can, if you want to make a note about a certain property, hey, I think that the best two comps out of all of these are these two because they're on the same street and same number of bedrooms, whatever you want to say. And then once you have the email address here, I'm just going to put in my personal, and then click send, and then it'll send that report to them. And it sends you a copy as well, which is really nice. So if you want to go back and review exactly what you sent them, it sends it to you. So I know that was super fast. The other thing is I know Gary likes the RPR. If I am looking for more properties to potentially add, because like I said, I always want to make sure I've covered all bases. Sometimes I'll pull the RPR and then add them in there. I think Gary said he has a video on that. So if you guys
I'll
wanna
share that.
review
I
that.
like the RPR because on page 2, it shows a range. And I like to do the manual one like Rich does, because that's old school. And I like to do that
Yeah.
once I do active pending sold. I come up with my number before I ever see the RPR report. I look at the RPR and I go, okay, it matches within that range.
With
And
that,
it really does.
yeah.
And then it depends on the condition of the property, obviously. If it's a beater, could be on the low end. If it's totally upgraded, pool, blah, 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 it's going to be on the high end. Usually it falls somewhere in the middle, but yeah.
Right. And I left out an important thing now that you say that. On that little purple box where I told you the subject property, you can put for them, once you've got it all dialed in, you can put a price here. I always go, like Gary said, with a range no matter what we're looking at. So now we've got our numbers over here, right? And it's saying the median's 775, 768. But now I know this one's pending for over 800,000. Pretty comparable, right? So I might put a range and I might say, 780 to 820 or something like that. And you can just physically type it in here. You don't have to put an exact dollar amount. So I put that there for them. And I tell them that I give them a range because a lot of it's going to depend on the appraiser that you get. Every appraiser is different, right? And so then we review everything and then we talk about what they think and how badly they want the home and all of the other things to help us decide what kind of an offer that they should make. But I find my clients really like the CMA, the Cloud CMA, like I said, because it's so robust with all the photos and being live and you can click on things and it makes it really easy for us to review together. You guys have any questions? I know it's like super fast. I was telling Gary, I'm happy to, if there's anyone that wants to go deeper, if there's more than one person that wants to do that, I'm happy to. We can even meet in the office. on a Thursday if you guys are coming in for the meeting anyway, and spend a little time in person going through it. And then that way too, we could pull up the RPR, which is a nice one as well. I find that one I don't know. I feel like that one could be really off on some of the stuff it pulls as well, but same thing. It lets you click the ones you want to keep and not click the ones you don't want.
It's just an algorithm. It's
I just
kind of
know
like
Gary's,
an estimate, you know, like
yeah,
an
I just know
algorithm.
Gary's,
It's pretty though. What I like about it, it's like 60 pages long. It gives a ton of information. So if their client is super analytical, they're going to want to see all that stuff, all about the schools, all about the demographics, all of that stuff. But,
yeah,
you know, I focus on page 2.
yeah. So again, it's one of those things where you kind of find what works best for you, and also make adjustments for the client and that kind of thing. But because you've trained on that and you have the video, I figured we'd do something different with the cloud CMA, because I know a lot of people don't even know about it or use it. So.
And just by the way, in the comments, Rashia verified that where I was saying like the criteria, it does look like that's where you can narrow down the stuff if you got the time, or you know what I mean? Like, I know Sheree, you said it's easy enough for you to just kind of go through it, but if you get ones where it's a ton of them and they're like all over the place, you could just.
Okay, so there is a spot. Is that
Yeah, see
on this
criteria at the
page?
top right there? Oh, you just had it.
Yeah, if you scroll down and click
Oh
the
yeah, more criteria,
There you go.
right?
Yep, perfect.
More subject for off-market listings. Yeah. Okay. And you can
Oh,
say
and then it
only-
may be advanced info at the top. Let's see. Yeah,
How are you doing on time, Sheree?
I gotta go.
Yeah. She's got an appointment at 11. So
At 11. All right, you guys. Well, thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank
And
you very much.
like
I'll
I said,
share
if you guys
this
want any
video
additional
when
stuff,
it's recorded, and then I'll share the other 2 that I did. I'll do it in TBRT model, so I'll just share those other videos. They're pretty quick on how to do a manual one and how to use RPR.
perfect. Sounds good. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks, Sheree.
Bye.
Bye, you guys.